Hi, I'm Penny Dix, astrologer and life coach, and welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome to today's in-depth look at the second hit of the United States of America's Pluto return. So, what is this all about? Well, a Pluto return, just to explain to you, which I've explained before in my first video about the Pluto return, which was back in February. The Pluto return is when Pluto returns to its same position as it was in the natal chart of the person or the country we're discussing. Now, Pluto takes a very long time to go around the whole zodiac. So a person never experiences their Pluto return. They may loosely experience, if they live very old, their Pluto opposition, but that's a very rare experience for a person. But each country has what we call a natal birth chart. And for the United States of America, it was forged on July the 4th in 1776 at approximately, I think it was something like 5:10 in the afternoon. And that is when the Declaration of Independence was forged and they started to sign it. And so that is why the birth chart for the United States is on that day. And interestingly, I'm recording this on the 1st of July, 2022. And July the 4th is just 4 days away. And you will be viewing this from the 4th onwards, because what is happening is we had the first hit of Pluto return. So Pluto, to the United States, has returned to the same position that it was in Capricorn when this first kicked off. Now, Pluto is returning to that same spot. So in February, towards the end of February this year, I think it was something like the 26th or 27th, Pluto had its first hit with its Pluto return position for the United States birth chart. This first part of July is its second hit. And the reason I'm doing a video is because it's super significant. First of all, if you think back to what was happening towards the end of February this year, the Pluto return was almost exact when Russia invaded Ukraine. And even though you might say, yes, but what's that to do with America? Well, of course, anything that threatens the sovereignty of a country, and this was Russia saber-rattling and threatening the sovereignty of a country, Ukraine, it will affect the United States. And I think we'll all agree that over the last few months we've seen the effects of how it's affected us in general in the world. But I'm going to come on to the deeper details a little bit later. First of all, this second hit, and there will be a third one, which will be at the end of the year, that will hopefully bring some kind of resolution. Because the interesting thing is, when a planet makes its third aspect, its third hit to a point, then often, if we've done the work that has been encouraged or invited by the particular planet that is making this transit, then it will give us that reward. So let's have a look at this second hit. I've put the dates for this between the 4th and the 12th of July, 2022. And what I wanted to say as a kind of a heading is that it's about allowing the grace of game-changing transformations. Pluto, remember, is a planet that transforms. Now, the exact hit is actually on the 11th of July 2022 at 15:50, and that's in the United States. So it'll be much later for us here in Europe. It'll be 6 hours later, basically. So let's just have a quick look at the astrological stuff for this, because interestingly, Mercury, our planet of communication, is in Cancer by now, and Mercury is conjunct the Sun. So there's going to be a lot of talking going on around this energy during this first 2 weeks, really, of July. And I cover this to a certain extent in my July videos, which are now up on my channel. Now, retrograde Saturn in Aquarius is trining Venus in Gemini. That's an interesting energy, because Venus in Gemini could almost be seen as women talking. Now, of course, we've seen what's happened with the Roe versus Wade debate in the United States, and that, I feel, is all part of what this Pluto return is about. And I think this trine shows that there may be some easier solutions that are able to be forged by the feminine, by women, with regard to their choices about what or how they choose to use their bodies. And I'm going to stay neutral in this, because basically my opinion isn't really important. What is important is for you to find your truth, for you to resonate with what I'm telling you and how it resonates for you. So the other interesting thing for this chart is that retrograde Pluto, which of course is our big outer boy, who is the star of this particular video, is opposite the Sun in Cancer, as it would have been back in 1776. So already we were seeing that the stage was being set for a pretty kind of definite and dramatic, transformative time for American history. So let's just move on a bit, because the other thing that's interesting is Chiron, our wounded healer, is conjunct Jupiter, my big outer boy, our planet of opportunity, luck, expansion, in Aries. So this is about super healing potentials that come. So what it is really, with some respect, this particular Pluto return to the United States, is that they are being given opportunities to heal their divisions, to heal their inner wounds. Will they recognize that? Will the collective step up and see what they can actually forge from this? Well, I'm going to come on now to what I actually made in my notes about this, because I mentioned several points which are really super interesting. So bear with me, because this is a game-changing year. And because it's bringing Pluto returning for the United States, it's the energy of the first half of July is really going to be affected by this, including, of course, the 4th of July, which, as I've said, is Independence Day, and it's 3 days away from when I'm recording this video. Now, the other interesting thing about this Pluto return is the Capricorn full moon in July on the 13th, because Pluto is conjunct the moon. It's actually conjunct the moon the day before in Capricorn. But this is when the energy for the full moon is building up to its kind of pinnacle of energy. And so it'll be very interesting to see what happens around the energy of that full moon. And I'm doing a separate video on the Capricorn full moon, and that will also be up on my channel in the next day or so. Okay, So Capricorn, we know, is the traditional establishment. It's the old way of doing things. It's the old boys' club. And haven't we seen that in British politics? You know, this is really kind of rife amongst the kind of the Tory side, the Conservative side, who are relying on their public school image. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is I think their ideas and their ways of working are outdated. Pluto, by its very nature in Capricorn, brings down the walls. It's like tearing down the walls of Jericho. This is a time to wake up. This is a time to transform. This is a time to change the way governments run their countries. And that is what is so absolutely pointed in the American astrology. So I think there will be a breaking down of the way the United States has been running its governments. I think the old ways do not serve where the whole world is going towards, let alone what is happening in America. Leadership changes are likely to follow the restructuring of the core values and beliefs, because America really has to smarten up its act big time internally. If it's going to remain a powerful force on the world stage, it needs to get its house in order. Once it's got its house in order, situations like we have in Eastern Europe with Putin attacking Ukraine cease to become such a problem. But whilst there is division and dissension in the American camp, it leaves a window open for aggressors to find a way in. So how is this going to affect the planet? Well, I pulled up an event chart for the particular point in time where Pluto reaches its Pluto return point in the American chart. And it shows us that there is ongoing internal pressure for political change in the US. And this is going to continue to affect the economic outlook for all of us. And I'm sure we're all beginning to feel that. And it's not just because we had 2 years lockdown and the pandemic. It's not just because of what is happening in Eastern Europe. It is also based on the internal structures of how basic economies work, not just in America, but throughout the world. So we've seen jittery markets. We've seen jittery currency transactions. This is not going to get any easier in the short term. And so we have to bear that in mind. We have to be mindful of this economic aspect. But you know what I was thinking? If feminine energy, in whatever form that takes, is able to push through the American ego, then healing is really possible. And I believe there's a wave, and this is from the chart, I've picked this up, a wave of feminine energy that is required for the whole planet to transform. Because our patriarchal society no longer serves the planet in a beneficial way. And I think we can see that this has been the case for many, many years. You know, it's interesting. I wrote these notes, at least a month ago. And one of the things I said here was, would the war in Ukraine, for example, have happened if Russia was led by a woman? And interestingly, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, actually said that only a few days ago. And I thought, he's stolen my notes. He's stolen my idea. But actually, that's really good if people are beginning to collectively sense that the feminine touch, that kind of gentle female injection of feminine values, is what is intrinsically missing in the world today. And the feminine, I think, is greatly feared by man, the feminine aspect. If the Russian leader was even just in touch with his own inner feminine, which I doubt he would give any credence to at all, it could have made what is happening now very different. In fact, I don't think he would have invaded Ukraine. I do feel that through this particular transit of Pluto, what we have to do collectively is allow feminine energy and principles to heal our wounds and heal the wounds of the planet. The tipping point of these energies implores the planet to wake up and embrace the feminine. Uranus, our planet of waking up, of surprises and shocks. Uranus is conjunct the North Node in Taurus. This is our collective destiny. And it's as if the cosmos is saying, wake up, please wake up, and get a balance back between this patriarchy and the matriarchy. The matriarchy hasn't had a look in. And as I said, I think the patriarchy really fears the power of the feminine. But we need to embrace that feminine energy to return to a value system of respect for each other. Because we don't. It's become a very much a me culture, a me first. Instant gratification. I want it and I want it now. Click as we press buy on our tablets or on our cell phones. And this is about finding a way to accommodate the male ego, but not to castrate it. There has to be balance. You think of the symbol of the United States of America, the Statue of Liberty. It's about freedom. It's about justice. And it's also, I feel, about balance. Because once the planet can regain its equilibrium and honor that gift of life, we all then have a chance to build a destiny that future generations will be proud and grateful for. But you must be wondering how it's going to affect you personally. Well, in many ways, these big outer planets in an event like this don't specifically affect us personally, but I'm just going to run through in what ways you might experience this energy. I mean, the thing is, we can all contribute to positive change and collective healing. And we can do this in our everyday behavior. And I know we're facing extraordinary difficulties. Cash flow, the basic necessities of life, food in many parts of the world, and for many sections of society are really struggling hugely. And what I hope to do, and what others perhaps in my position can do, is somehow enable with what we teach, with what we talk about, to help that healing energy flow through. And we need to collectively make a conscious choice to elevate to our awareness, to elevate our awareness to a higher vibration. And these outer planets are actually on that higher octave. Uranus is a high octave planet. The change can't happen unless we collectively become aware, unless we collectively wake up. We've actually got to start helping each other and not thinking, well, no, I'm not doing that because what about me? Of course we have to take care of ourselves. There's a funny kind of paradox in this, if that's the right word, that because I often tell my clients when I have them for therapy that they have to be selfish in a very healthy way. And I've used this analogy before. When we're on a plane, we're always instructed to put our own oxygen mask on before we help another. And yes, of course, we have to help ourselves first. But the problem is a lot of people are not even helping themselves, at least not in a way that is constructive. So what I really ask you with this Pluto energy is to find ways to help yourself, to learn about yourself, to transform yourself so that you can connect with the bigger picture. This is a time when we have to remember that dawn always comes after the darkest hour. So my final thoughts on this. Is it a bleak forecast? No, I don't think it is. I think it's incredibly exciting. I think we're all aware that none of us can go on like this with our traditional democratic values. They've become distorted. And even though utopian equality is perhaps an unrealistic dream, we're being given the chance through the cosmos to begin again, to begin anew. I want to finish on a lovely phrase which is used in counseling circles, which is, there's two phrases actually. There's hold on lightly, let go tightly. That's a really important phrase. Hold on lightly, let go tightly. And the second one that I want to leave you with is if you keep on doing what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. I'll repeat it. If you keep on doing what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And I'm leaving it on that note. So, thank you so much for joining me for this in-depth look at this Pluto return, second hit for the United States of America. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And that would be super fantastic. And help me build this channel. I'm really trying to push it up to that 1K mark. It seems like a big mountain to climb, but that Pluto in Capricorn is just urging me on. So I'd be super grateful if you could subscribe. And please check out some of my other videos. Do check out the ones I do with Brandon Russ, Conscious Medium. And also check out, we have some videos coming out over the next few days, Brandon and myself, which are also about the Pluto return and a different take and a kind of interesting discussion that both myself and Brandon Russ have about the Pluto return. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.